Hi, I'm Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
I'm Michael Burke, and this is Money Talks. Welcome to Money Talks. I'm business reporter Michael Burke, and today we're at Dimples Fine Imports in downtown Racine, 416 Main Street. I think with Denis and Dimple, Navratil. I think it's fair to say you're one of the real success stories of downtown Racine. You're going strong and stronger, and after opening in 1999. So we'll get into all of that. But for those who haven't set foot in your store yet. How many places in the world does your merchandise come from, and what's the square footage? This is really a large store for downtown.
Well, this is the first floor is counting, our storage area is 4,000 square feet. And regarding how many countries our merchandise comes from, I don't know. We've lost kind of track, but it's from from all over. We try, and it really depends on what the need is, what the trend is, and where it comes from.
Well, when you opened at 334 Main Street, I look back at my story I did then, and at that time we named 10 countries and then Africa. So
right.
Africa obviously being multiple countries. So is it fair to say you're still getting things from as many places?
Yes, as many as we can. We have, since we last spoke to you and we did that article, it was in 1999 when we had just opened.
Yeah.
But and the 334 Main Street was a much smaller. I think it was less than 1,500 square feet space. Since then, we have expanded quite a bit, and we are carrying a lot of clothing and accessories like that.
A lot more clothing.
Yeah. So even our clothing is from all over, and our accessories are from all over, and jewelry-wise too, which is one of our main business. It's always been. We started with jewelry. We have broadened our horizon with the jewelry too, carrying it from different countries.
And if I could add, Mick, we've sort of morphed gradually from a very, India-only sort of institution to really we're broadening into things from other places, other products. It's really more like, instead of an ethnic shop, it's partly that, but it's also just a boutique where we're having all sorts of products that mostly women tend to want, from clothes and hats and gloves and accessories, scarves. We sell a lot of that stuff. So it's really, our business model has changed gradually from a very India-centric type of store to really, kind of whatever the customer is looking for primarily. Yeah.
And we'll come back to talking more about the shop later, but let's go back to the beginning. Why you're from Racine? You're obviously from India, but why did you choose Racine for as a place for a store?
Well, Racine is where I grew up, so I knew Racine. At the time, this is going back 15 years ago, I really thought that Racine's downtown was going to blossom, and it has. I mean, we've had our struggles too, but it's much better than it was 15 years ago. I think part of that was what signaled to me at that time was the Johnsons were making a commitment with the bank down there, and I really thought that
the bank, which became Racine Art Museum.
No, the Johnson Bank.
Okay.
And I really thought that would be an anchor for the area, and that they would, want it to be a solid place. And so they've put a lot of resources into the downtown, and that was right. So I think we came here at the right time. The property values were low. We were able to buy it at a good price. But additionally, Racine enables us to have the benefit of that sort of lower market price on property, but having access to markets in Chicago, Milwaukee, where we could get there easily enough to sell our merchandise.
And when you say sell, are you talking about retail or wholesale or both?
Well, we used to be more heavily into wholesaling our jewelry from India. We've really gotten away from that over the years, and now our primary external sales are, believe it or not, at hospitals throughout the Midwest, where they're fundraisers for those hospitals. We set up there and we reach all their employees, and then we give a nice healthy percentage to them, and that's a big part of our business.
Let's talk about your start in India. You were already a businesswoman in India, right? What were you doing?
I was helping my mom's business. She had a couple of shops. We had a boutique and a hair salon that I helped her. I was the only child, and
Oh, you were the only child?
yeah, I was the
didn't know
only
that.
child. Yes, and my mom was a widow, so I was the only help.
Oh, okay.
So
And how many years of business experience did you have then before you came over?
I came here in my late 20s, and I had been helping her since I was a teenager. I used to travel all over for her too, for the boutique, to go make purchases. So that time I used to go a lot to Thailand and Singapore.
Oh, really?
And Hong Kong, yes.
Wow.
So
You and your family has an interesting set of skills that connects directly to what you guys sell in the store. What is
Right,
that? So
right.
we'll talk about that.
my family, for generation, they've been in the jewelry business. They've been gold and diamond merchants, and this goes way back. And when we met, we decided to get married, and I decided to live here. They wanted me really to start my own business, and we started with jewelry. And that's the reason, because they helped us out. They made the jewelry, shipped it for us.
Okay, so they were making it, not just merchants, but they were actually making
They
it.
were making it, right?
Yeah. And that's still the case?
That's still the case, but they don't make as much as silver in India anymore for themselves, because there's no market for them over there in silver. They deal more in gold and diamonds back home.
Yeah. Now, you still make visits to India, and these are both business and family visits, right?
Yes.
So talk about your trips on the buying side. What is it like? Do you have regular contacts? Do you go to markets? Help us picture what that's like.
Over the years, I have made a lot of contacts, and good contacts. And earlier, when we started the business, I used to go there several times a year, maybe 2 times or 3 times. But now we don't really have to. I have the contacts and the connections, working with a lot of people over the years. It really depends on what the need is. If there's a new product in the market, there's a need for, then I have to go investigate where I can go, where's the best place to go. And when I'm in India, we travel a lot, wherever it takes us. If that product is made into a different state, in a different village, I will make sure I can get there directly.
Oh, yeah?
Myself.
Oh, yeah. And then how do you ship what you buy in India? How do you ship it back here?
Well, we have brokers in India, and we have brokers over here, and it comes,
On containers?
on containers.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah, it depends on if it's jewelry, then it doesn't come by ship. It just comes by air. If there's anything bigger than that, then containers.
Yeah. So once you had chosen Racine and you found your shop, and one of the things in my first story was the fact that you put what would you call it, a statue or something of Ganesh, the
Yes.
Indian god for prosperity and good luck, right?
Yes,
Right above the door.
Right.
Do you have him here?
I still have him here.
Well,
yes.
he's obviously doing his job for you because
He is.
you've grown.
I'm a firm believer in Ganesh, and
Uh-huh.
I have it on my business cards. In my house, I have a huge collection of Ganesh. And as an Indian, I totally believe in it. Good
Yeah.
luck and prosperity.
Yeah, wow. Little tip there for would-be business people. Now, so you started in '99 at 334 Main, and in 2003 you bought this much larger building. You had something, the two of you had something, not necessarily a retail store in mind, right?
Yeah.
And that was a,
Well, we wanted to make it a retail and an Indian restaurant because
Yeah.
I think we could really use an Indian restaurant downtown. We have
Here,
such a
here.
diverse
Yeah.
downtown, and especially for me, I crave a lot of Indian
Yeah.
food all the time. So we wanted to kind of incorporate into this store, have the Indian restaurant and the boutique. But as it turned out to be, it was structurally, it was the putting in the kitchen, everything was turning out to be way more than what we expected it to be.
in cost, in
In
what it
cost.
would have cost.
In cost.
So
Yeah.
eventually,
We also had concerns about what our lifestyle would be like too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we had a business that's you know, sort of a 9 to 5 operation ish, and going from that to maybe being up every day till midnight.
Right.
When we had a young child, we really thought that the risks were excessive
yeah.
at the time.
And
Yeah.
at the same time, this business was, every year it was getting better. So, you know, we didn't want to take away from this business and, you know, pull into the restaurant.
Yeah.
But you never know, right?
So you converted it to a very large, very nice retail store. So, and by the way, put in a couple of really fabulous apartments above. So let's talk a little more about the business as it is today. What's the biggest? Is jewelry still the biggest line?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have one of the biggest selections of silver jewelry, and they come from all over. We have unique gemstone jewelry that comes from all over, one-of-a-kind pieces, and very, very affordable and unique.
Do you think there's any antagonism with the other? There are two other jewelry shops in downtown Racine. Is there any?
I don't think so, because I think they are making their own product, so it's really quite different from what we're doing. If there is antagonism, we're not aware of it, and hopefully that's not the case. But
Yeah.
every business ought to be able to do what they want inside their own walls. So that's how we
And I think
about
we work together. If there's something that we don't have and a customer is looking for, either we can make a call for them or tell them, why don't you go try this other jewelry place. It's a small downtown, and,
Yeah.
you know.
And certainly all three businesses are surviving.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So jewelry's the biggest line. What would be next? Clothing, it looks like?
Clothing we're doing pretty well with, accessories, clothing.
When you say accessories, what?
Women's accessories, purses, belts, and you know,
scarves. We sell a lot of
costumes,
scarves.
scarves, costume jewelry.
Now, one of the unique things is, this is an example, the tablecloth
Yes.
that's on this table. Talk about.
Well, this is actually a wall hanging made out of an antique wedding sari. Not one, it's multiple antique wedding saris. It's all hand embroidered. And this is about, I want to say at least 75 to 85 years old.
Wow.
And people use it to put it on the wall, throw it on the couch. It's just a nice piece of art.
So women get married and then they never use that sari again? So this is a way of kind of getting more use out of
Exactly.
it?
You know how fashions change, and some of these saris used to weigh like 45, 50 kilos, and you know it's not worn. The trends, it's not trendy anymore. So a lot of the housewives will trade this for, you know, steel vessels and household items, sell this, and then the people will go convert this into wall hangings and sell that. Wall hangings, purses, bed covers.
Oh, yeah.
So
Pillow.
it's recycled.
Yeah. What's another example of something that people in India recycle and you offer in your store? Paper mache?
Let's see, paper mache, yeah.
You got an example of it?
Absolutely. Paper mache boxes, recycled paper. It's all hand molded, hand painted in India. And something like this, with the amount of work that's put into, let's just say we retail it for $5. It's a lot of work put into it.
I
Every
bet.
detail is done by hand.
Yeah, it's really
So-
pretty. What, and women are still doing these kinds of things?
Absolutely. They're still doing this kind of things, but it's almost a dying art because saris like this, you can't really find. It's hard to find. It's getting more and more rarer.
Really?
Because as you know, its age is so far back that you cannot find this kind of workmanship anymore.
Oh, So people still wear a sari when they get married, though, right?
Yes, they
Okay, it's
do.
just that what happens afterward is slowly changing?
Yes, it's just like the designs change, the trends change. It's not, our saris right now that they wear is not that heavy into embroidery and beadwork
Oh, I see.
as this used to be years ago.
I see, yeah, yeah. From where I sit, I can see many, many masks, I guess you would call
Yes.
them, on the walls. Where did some of those come from?
Most of them are from Africa, Ivory Coast, Liberia. Some of them are from Indonesia, and a few of them, very few from Thailand and India.
Hmm. Are those things still made, or do they go way back?
Well, 90% of that are, those masks are antique.
Oh.
10% is reproduction.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Now, speaking of antique, I know at one time you added some antique furniture. Are you still bringing that in?
Not really. We don't have the market downtown for it. We used to carry furniture and rugs, but we found out over the years that there wasn't the demand for it, and the demand we turned more into clothing and
Yeah,
you know.
probably much more turnover with those
Yes,
kinds of things.
Yes.
Now, just briefly, Dennis, why don't you talk about through the Great Recession, how was business? How did you guys do? Because you had just invested lots of money into this building in about 2003 and 4, got a few years to probably get established. Did you guys do okay during that period?
Yeah, we've had it's been a surprise to me, quite frankly, that our business has had not a steady, slow growth, even through recessionary. We've been in business 20 years, so there have been some ups and downs, but and I've given some thought as to why this is, but we've been sort of recession-proof, and I think the reason is because we've always tried to have things. When we import things, we are also saving money by directly importing, so we're able to keep our prices low. Our strategy really
By eliminating
is
the
a middle
middleman.
person, and so we've always tried to have a pricing strategy of lower prices and quality things at lower prices, and I think that helps in difficult times, because even in difficult times, people are still going to want to buy gifts or clothes. They may not go for the higher end items, but there's so that sort of helped us. I think we're kind of known for having unique things, but also good prices. So, and we're able to do that primarily because we are importing a lot of things directly. So we've weathered the storm. Things could always be better, of course, but we're doing fine. And
Yeah. Well, one thing you guys are doing is you're having Sunday hours, unlike a lot of other downtown businesses. But you guys are the old reliables. It seems like you're always open, so that's got to help a little bit, right?
Yeah, well, this is retail. If you're not open on weekends, then it's not that good.
yeah, we've had a lot of customers over the years have mentioned that other stores aren't open, and it's disappointing for them if they've come. In some cases, they've responded to advertisements about Racine,
Yeah.
and then they'll come here on a Sunday and nothing's
Right.
open, and we've, as a community, have sort of blown it there by not having much open. So we've always,
Especially when you're downtown that likes to have events. And events draw people, and then people come into downtown,
Not only
and not
that,
so
we
much
get
is
a
going
lot
on.
of boaters coming in on
Yeah.
weekends too
Right,
from
right.
other places.
Right.
Yeah. So it's for us this is what we do. So we really we have to be there when our customers need us, and so we found that Sundays are worthwhile.
Okay. Well, listen, with that, we have to wrap up. To repeat, we're in Dimples Fine Imports at 416 Main Street, Denis and Dimple Navratil. If you come in, you even get to often visit a great big dog behind the counter named Buffalo, as I did today. So you've been watching Money Talks. Thanks to our producer, Scott Anderson. I'm business reporter Michael Burke. Thanks for watching.